The Curran family of funeral homes is proud to celebrate 50 years of exemplary service to our local communities. What started out as one location in Apollo has grown to 4 funeral homes, a crematory, and pet cremation services. Gary Curran founded the business in Apollo and grew to include locations in Salzburg on 701 Salt Street, Vandergrift on 429 Franklin Avenue, Leechburg on 300 Market Street, and an Apollo location with a crematory at 100 Owensview Avenue. Curran Funeral Homes set the standard of going above and beyond for their families, a tradition that began 50 years ago and has continued as the driving force of the funeral homes. Art Kunkel worked with the late Gary Curran, and when Gary sadly passed away in 2002, Art continued caring for the families in the Kiski Valley.
Gary was very closed. He didn't like to have a lot of people around, and I was very fortunate to be selected by him, I guess, to work with him. It was an honor to be able to do so. He was very influential in the thought process on how we should create a business and how we should interact with families and what we need to do to make them satisfied.
James A. Kunkel started in the industry working behind the scenes at the funeral home, and in 2017 became part owner with his father. He carries on the trusted legacy of the Curran Funeral Homes.
Fortunate to have a son who was interested enough to come in and do the job that he's doing, making sure that the families are all served and working with the employees that we treat as family.
What makes our funeral home different is our staff and our family serving yours.
I was a graduate of the Pittsburgh Institute of Mortuary Science, class of 2000. I live in Vandergrift, above the Brady Curran Funeral Home, for the last 6 or 7 years, and we've been there, myself and Chris and my 2 daughters, Paige and Leah, and our new addition, Zoe. You know, we've worked, I think, all of our career except 5 years together. We've learned together how important each detail is to serve the families here in the Kiski Valley. We've had the similar mentors, and I've had a couple extra. I think there's a piece of each one of them that we know that we have, and we can use those tools in our tool chest whenever we need it, and how important it is to set ourselves apart from XYZ funeral home down the street.
In 2010, when funeral director Norman Connors became part of our staff, our funeral home began to offer something new: the Celebration of Life Tribute Service.
I live in Natrona Heights, right off 28. Everybody knows the wonderful pizza at the BP, and I'm right there with my wonderful wife, the Queen Mariana. I made the move from the funeral home I was working at in White Oak to a funeral home in Reading, Pennsylvania. They had a group called Bean Funeral Homes. That's where James and I got together as well, even though we graduated mortuary school. Our owner there was very progressive, and in 2008 asked me if I would be interested in becoming a celebrant. We had a lot of families that either didn't have a minister or perhaps weren't religious, and we wanted to offer them something unique. Back to the day that I flew home from the University of Memphis for my celebrant training, that day, as I was unpacking, the funeral home doorbell rang. It was a family I had served before, but they were a Buddhist family and always had Buddhist traditions for their funerals. But they had a 23-year-old young lady who passed away, and they wanted something different. Who knew that the moment they walked in the door of our funeral home was within an hour of when I walked through the door of becoming a celebrant. We've done hundreds of celebrations of life here at our funeral homes. My favorite part, there's actually 2. Number 1, when someone comes up to me after the service and says, "I've known that man or woman all my life, but I never knew that." I think that's pretty cool. And the second thing that I've taken away on a personal level from the celebrations of life is I get to learn the story and hear the story of so many families. It's amazing to me and something I'll never forget.
Matthew Berger was born and raised in the Carrick neighborhood of Pittsburgh and started with the Curran Funeral Home in 2018.
I was born and raised in the south side of Pittsburgh, Carrick to be exact. I was working for a lawn care company, and I was given the opportunity during the time we get laid off during the winter by James to start working the door and maybe helping on a transfer here and there. And then it was time to go back to the lawn care company, and James asked if I wanted to go to school or I wanted to go back to doing lawn care. And I said, I want to go to school. I graduated from mortuary school in 2021 during the pandemic. We're here for families far beyond just a funeral. We help families with life insurance policies, pensions, and we're here for anything they need, again, far beyond just the funeral. So many of the families we serve become part of our family.
In 2024, we welcomed a new staff member, Gwen Hessam. She finished first in her class at the Pittsburgh Institute of Mortuary Science and is looking forward to her career with Curran Funeral Home.
I wanted to choose a career of selflessness and compassion, and I thought that funeral service would be the right career for that. When I met with James, I immediately knew that this work environment was going to be somewhere where I would fit in, I would be appreciated, and I would be supported, and I just thought the staff was amazing, so I decided to work here.
Each year, on Veterans Day, the Curran Funeral Home hosts an annual celebration of veterans at the Apollo Funeral Home, paying tribute to all the veterans we've served in the last calendar year, as well as 4 veterans that were taken from their families in modern wars.
Veterans are a very important part of our funeral home, and as I sit here right behind me, my mother made this quilt in honor of all the veterans that we have served over the past 22 years during our Veterans Day service here at Curran Funeral Homes.
In late 2024, the Curran Funeral Home started offering pet cremation services to honor our late service dog Chester, who passed away in 2023, and our comfort dog in training, Kirby, who passed away in 2024. Over the years, our staff has had furry friends as part of our family, and we recognize the importance of having a trusted partner to handle pet services in our community.
This is Chester, our comfort dog. He passed away in July of 2023, and he was a very large part of the reasoning and creating Peaceful Paws Pet Services to serve more families that are in need.
What makes the Curran Funeral Home different is our caring staff, local families serving yours.
If you care about your families and the way they're treated, they'll treat you 100-fold.
We will be glad to serve any families. We can offer you anything that you need to deal with death care, from funeral, monuments, cremation, and now pet services.
Thank you so much to all of our communities for allowing us to take care of your families. It has been a privilege to be there for your family over these last 50 years. In your time of need, know you have a trusted partner in the Curran Funeral Home. Our family serving yours.